por sí. Si tienes dinero, haces lo que quieres.
I think we can be the next hip hop.
There is hundreds of clubs in the United States playing this music.
They sing about bloodshed. I like violence. I want to live over there for a bit.
You're from Israel, so can you tell me how'd you come across the subject matter, and how do you see it as an outsider?
I'm a photojournalist, so I am from Israel, but I've worked in Mexico forever, kind of. So I really care about Mexico, and when the drug war really inflamed and there were so many victims, I just started going there, and I came across this crazy reality. You know, I'd fly to El Paso, back then the safest city in the U.S., literally walk across and be in one of the most dangerous places in the world, and I felt it wasn't really getting covered. And once I started covering that, I learned about how much culture and how much this affects more than just the people in the fight, and that's when this movie came about, when I saw this huge diversity that goes across that line.
What's the attraction to the narco music that you believe glorifies the violence?
Well, it's not so much about glorifying. It's just like when I seen the film at the Chinese theater, this young woman, she came up to me. She's all like, you know, I'm a teacher. I'm a school teacher. But yeah, on the weekend I like to listen to corridos and I like to drink bucanas and yet on Monday I gotta go back to work. It's not so much. They just, I guess, people want something to identify to, you know, I guess, with rap and rock and roll and regional Mexican music, I guess.
Hollywood glorifies the mob. Do you think that that has an influence on this culture?
I think it does. I think, you know, you look at entertainment. It has been doing Italian mob shows forever. Mm-hmm. You look at the reality. The Mexican cartels are the biggest crime organizations in the world. It's not that surprising, once you get used to it, why this scene exists. You know, for me, yes. When I crossed for the first time from Tijuana and saw bodies, and on the same night saw Edgar perform, walking around with a gun and people cheering and cutting their heads off, I was shocked. To be honest, I was angry. I was overwhelmed. But at the same time, as I spend time with Edgar and Bucanas, you understand that it is a scene for these kids to relate to something. They keep hearing about this story, and it's in la moda, and Edgar provides a product, and it is almost a product of this reality.
The lyrics are a little disturbing. You do promote violence and killing and all these things, and you see it, that you kind of sing it in front of your child. And then we see these girls who are, you know, they say, what do you, kind of saying that when they grow up, they aspire and their goal is to be with a narco. How do you feel about that? Would you be okay with your kids being, you know, your daughter or
But
something?
at the same time, did you notice how my 2-year-old, at that time he was 2, and he's like, say no to drugs?
Yeah, I found that really interesting.
Okay.
Like, is that something that you kind of push on him, or how does that?
And I guess us as parents, that's all of our jobs. We gotta watch for it. You know, it's one thing what we do, and yes, you know, you gotta be careful what you do in front of your kids or whatever. But I guess if you emphasize, since they're so small, what's right and wrong, and make sure they understand that the way of life is working, mm-hmm. and it's working and doing what you love.
How do you oppose the war zone to this drug war, being part of that and all the threats and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, it is a war zone. It's just a different war zone. It's actually, as a photojournalist, as a filmmaker, it's probably a harder war zone to operate than Afghanistan, because you really trust nobody. Making this film was a huge, who are they? Where are they? Where is this going to come from? So, you know, treating it, this is one of the things, that treating it kind of as, oh, this is just this existence, we all get tired. No, it is a war zone. A lot of people constantly die, and there's no justice brought.
2 of your partners died during this thing, right? From El Diario?
The subject, from El Diario, yes. Well, the first time I ever went to Juarez, I had a contact who was a reporter working there to show me around, and he paired me with his photographer, and we spent 3 days kind of running around the city. going to different crime scenes, and one of these crime scenes calls, we went and we actually discovered that this is a reporter that connected us, and it was a huge shock. It was the first time I was actually down there for the film, and it really pushed me to make this film because I also understood that I have some responsibility that Mexican journalists can't do. They will be censored by the most vicious ways, and I kind of made a vow to not. And I think it is sometimes better to be an outsider because your eyes see something different and your ability to do something different actually matters.